Hey guys, welcome back. There's another Unreal Dev Diary with Dex, unedited and unscripted. So we're back. I just want to do like a quick update. If you have seen the community update, I am working on the GDD, so you can actually see that here. And I have no problem showing this because it's also to give an idea of like if you were to start a game project, this is like the things that you'll need when it comes to like planning and stuff. So I won't go too in depth of what is here. I mean, obviously you can pause and read and whatever if you want to, but yeah. See, so there's like the game overview, which is like just laying out everything that goes into what makes up the game, and the tools that will be used and where it'll be published and uploaded, the timeline. So all of this is like modifiable and like well, a lot of people don't really use this kind of method nowadays because they'll have something like this, but then they'll take all this information and move it to something like Trello or like I don't know, whatever task management app, and then break it down. So they'll have a task called health system, and then they will, attack things in here and yeah, that sorted out. But yeah, so I've just been like laying out all the explanations on what all the stuff does. But yeah, if you see the demos, you don't really you get the idea of what it is, the basic level structure. So what goes into a level. Yeah, so I'm still carrying on like listing out everything, but I finished everything that has to do with explaining things, because over here you can see this is everything that we saw now: basic level structure, and then level design elements, just like everything that will be placed in the level, everything that is interactable by the player or by NPCs. And then here it'll just be listing out all the different items, abilities, and all the data on it. So like how much damage it'll do, the weight, the size of the thing, where it can be found. So this is just like a data book like section, like, you know what I mean? Just to like list out everything about that item or everything about that power up, or there's like a full explanation on the information basically of that item. So yeah, so the same with enemy data, also where they found, how much health they have, what weapons they have, what type of enemy it is. Yeah, and then there's the player controls. So they're saying like what controls people will be using on controller or on PC keyboard. Yeah, then the graphics and sound, so the art style and the sounds, and then the menu. So this will probably be like a flow chart just to show how the menus link, like all the different menus, like the options menu, the main menu, how they all like go to different places. So kind of like how you would have like a wireframe for a website. It's very similar. So yeah, and then the GUI over here. So also this showing off what UI is being used. So all the different elements of the UI, which you also see by watching the videos. Yeah, unique selling points. So this listing out what you feel is like unique in your game. That yeah, and this might be like almost like a business kind of thing, kind of look into it, but it's not. It kind of like encourages you to make something that you feel is unique, like something that you feel that you are setting yourself apart. So I mean, you can just go with the making a really good wheel argument, not trying to reinvent, but you can also most of the time people are making something that is very similar to something else, but just a little better by adding something in to the system, not changing the whole entire system, but just adding something in, or reimagining something that already exists, and that what makes it like You know, that's what makes it something that's really appealing. So yeah, if you can actually put it out and not like, you know, think about it in your head, you and then actually put it out, and then you can actually see what you actually like, you know, what is making your game special to you, and that will make it special to other people. So yeah, if you get what I mean there. But yeah, then target audience. So that's also a similar thing of this, where laying it out can also give you an idea of your direction, and how you want the feel of the game. You don't want it to be like kind of out of touch if you're making it for a certain audience, or people don't even know like who is this for? Like, you know, I mean, you don't want them to ask that question, which is like, yeah, if you've seen uh, Saints Row or anything like that, like the new Saints Row, then you have seen that kind of like expression of like people are uncomfortable playing the game, basically. Um, so yeah, and then the asset list, so table of assets, and yeah, there's also the progress checklist, which is this Excel sheet. So this is what we've been updating all the time. But yeah, so the table of assets is similar to this data section, but it'll just be in like a table form. So it'll just list out all the different items that need to be created and all of its data, like all the ammunition or items, or just like world data, enemy data. So it just be all in a table, so you can see it like laid out. But yeah, so this really, so laying this stuff out really helps you. Not like you still have everything in your head. So if you feel like, yeah, you know how the game is gonna be, you know all of this stuff, but like as the game, even if it's a small game, as the game goes on, you want to kind of like have like a reference, not a reference, but like a way of like seeing what was the original idea. And then if you ever stray away from that, this is here to ground you, to make sure that you know, that you're still sticking to your original plan or your original vision for what you are making. So yeah, so this is the GDD that is currently being worked on, and I'm still working on the mechanics of the game. I can show you here. So everything in purple is some things that have been, like, the system is there, but it's the things that in purple is stuff that is not needed to make the system work, if that makes sense. Um like I'll give an example. Like here by the weapon system. The weapon system has a defined balanced fire rate. So before it was shooting fast, but now it shoots at a good pace. I'll show you that soon. But yeah, so like cooldown on the weapon, showing the UI on the neck for the next shot, or like the reloading of the next bullet. That doesn't need the game mechanic to have that work. That is just like a UI add-on. So all of these things are stuff adding on to the current system. But as long as the current system is working, then these will just be stuff adding on to it, if that makes sense. Like charge shots, bullet drop, and all of that stuff. That's stuff that is going to be modified like in the game. So that can be done even in beta stage. So all of this is like good for like getting your alpha ready. So the same as here, like the array of cosmetics, the grounds for it has been created, but a certain cosmetic hasn't been added yet, or cosmetic transactions hasn't been added. But it uses the same system as the array of fittings. So have you seen in the previous video of the whole shop NPC, you get the fittings, you transact it for upgrade. It works the exact same way for cosmetics. So you get a cosmetic from an enemy, and you go to the shop and you trade it for, you know, you trade the fitting, the cosmetic fitting, for the cosmetic upgrade. So you have the same system working for both sections. So when all the main game mechanics are created, then these will be added on like later. The same thing with deactivating and activating upgrades. has the same system as when you click on an item in your fittings, it'll give you like a description of what is that item if you click on it. So you in your inventory, and it can also work with a hover system. Like if you hover over the item, and then it'll give you information on it, you know. But it works the same way as if you want to interact with the inventory item, and you're clicking with your mouse on the item block. That's basically the same system as enabling and disabling upgrades. So you can see the grounds for that system is already made, so it can be added on, to that existing system. Yeah, so that's why all these additional features that fill out the systems and reuse system setups. That's basically what that is. I just explained that in a bunch of words, but like, yeah, I just wrote it out there. Yeah, so the same thing here, the upgrade. So we have dash already. But yeah, I still want to make the charge shot and the slash. But all of this will be ready in the beta and version of the alpha. But like, yeah, you'll see down here, this is like where it goes into the stuff here. So yeah, same here, cleaning up the systems and the UI. So actually designing the UI and all of that, that's also there in purple, as you can see. And then the same thing with the lock-on system. I haven't showed the lock-on system yet, but I'll show it in a bit. So yeah, so you can see the whole thing. The weapon upgrade system is also marked as done, like it's marked as green. But then there's other things to add on to it, like equipment degradation on death. That's also something that is like, still in the works. It might go into the GDD if I decide that like I want equipment degradation. So like having to maintain your items, or just have it where you can use your items for as long as you want, and yeah, that's fine. Because if you want to add in all these different systems, you can, but yeah, you must actually test it out. That's why you make as much of the grounds for the game to work. Basically, getting your first alpha out, like I'm gonna do. That's why this is marked in purple. So this is not gonna be worked on now, but when it gets to the point of like I'm testing everything, like all this mechanics in one level, then I'll see how the experience is. Then if the experience is already fleshed out, or the experience already feels full of things to do and things to engage with, then I feel like equipment degradation might be too much. It's like another step on another step on another step, Like you don't want to maintain your character and then maintain the weapons and then try to find this and then try to find that in the game, and then you must worry about your equipment getting like destroyed, and then you must worry about getting repair kits, and then you must find checkpoint. You know what I mean? You don't want to have too much stuff happening at once, but you don't know how the experience will be unless you test it out. So that's what I'm like. That's like the next point that I'm heading towards. So before I work on all these things like critical attacks and all this different stuff, I first want to get the main game mechanics to be tested and see how that how they all interact with each other and the world. So yeah, and then so these stuff here, this is the last two in this section when it comes to the systems and essentials. So it's just a weapon system, which is basically already done, but I just want to add one more, which is melee attacks, which I am working on. So it'll just be like a simple thing of like you press a button and the hitbox will spawn in front of the player. That basically wherever the player is facing, that will hit the target if they're in range. So it'll have an animation, and yeah, and you can, if you're hitting once, then the second hit will kick in, and then the third hit will kick in as you press the button. So there's like an animation, like a chain animation to show that you're doing like a combo, like 3 hits like combo, something like that. So yeah. And then the grapple upgrade and all of that, like charged melee attacks, that's adding on to the melee attack system. So like That's will also be worked afterwards. But I want to get this actually out because I feel like that's also an important part of combat. Not only range combat, but like if you get ambushed or if you in a tight squeeze, then melee attacks is something that is like, is needed there. So I feel like that should be added. Same with the fire rate. And then yeah, having additional weapons and types, that is something that's gonna be added. And yeah, the changing weapons with the separate button, so it'll just slow down time, let you choose your weapon in like a weapon wheel or maybe like a weapon conveyor belt. But yeah, and then yeah, and then weapon pickups. So the weapon pickups is probably gonna work the same way as fittings. So you kill an enemy and it gets added to your inventory. Yeah, but it's obviously gonna be weapons and have it work with the change system. So yeah, so when the melee attacks and this weapon change system and the weapon pickups and stuff like that is developed, and this will be marked as green. So yeah, you don't have to worry about the purple stuff. And then yeah, then the last thing is the bosses and enemies. So this is also a modified version because they are bosses and enemies as you've seen. But yeah, there'll be different enemy types, enemy AI. So this is like having them move around. Some like different types of enemies will be moving around or standing still or like moving faster than others, attacking with melees, attacking with self destruct, grabbing onto you. Different things like that. And then yeah, then bosses having their own unique AI, their own unique health bars and lock-ons and all of that. So yeah, so all of this will only be tested with like one group of them. But like when all of this is done, then like I said before, build the level will be built. So just like after the refactor and adding in some of these, yeah, we can all test it in this one level or like two levels. Like I'll make two levels and add in all of these mechanics to give examples of all of them working together. So yeah, like the victory achieved message, and yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's gonna be added with the bosses and the enemies. But yeah, once these two are done, then all the game mechanics are completed, and then just need these like things added on, you know. And then a refactor will happen. So making sure everything is commented on, making sure all the code is in a good order, is comprehensible. You can come back after months and you can understand your code and you can see your code, and also simplifying things. So it's almost like taking information and summarizing it and noting it and highlighting it and everything like that. So that's gonna be happening here. I have been refactoring as I go, but it's good to always get to a point, refactor everything, then carry on with your next step. Because I don't want to finish everything, then build levels and do testing and blah blah blah. Then like have all these different pieces of code and fragments of old code laying around. Like no, that's like that'll make you go crazy. but yeah. So yeah, and then this UI improvements and additions, I have gone over this, but like, yeah, this is stuff that also the alpha can run without, like the whole UI on item pickups and some UI on death and the main menu and start screen, stuff like that. Like a level can run without these things, but yeah, these things are going to be added as the level is built and as these things will be tested. So yeah, and then overall finishing is obviously like that's good for getting the beta, like getting the beta ready, and also like the first version of like a full alpha, maybe like I don't know, like 3 levels or something. But like yeah, once this is done, like the beta can be made, like a beta of the entire game, like 20 levels, everything, all the levels built, with their bosses and enemies and secret areas and all the weapons, everything placed in their sections. So then the whole game can be tested as it as a full project, you know. So yeah, so we kind of like at the end of our game mechanics section, which is like obviously the most important section of the whole thing, because that's defining the gameplay. So yeah, enough talk. Let's just check out the lock-on system. So the lock-on system, yes, it has a button. If you're in range of the target, let me actually bring that up. So yeah, this is still Alt P. Okay, I thought I changed the thing, but yeah. So it's like as you come into range, because you can see like, oh, this is the new fire rate. So if you remember, it was like this far shot, but now I can click as fast as I want, if you can hear me clicking. But this will only shoot like, I think it's 1.5 seconds per shot. So yeah, so that's the fire rate. Obviously you can increase the fire rate or slow it down but have more damage or whatever, but that's part of the upgrades. So yeah, with the lock-on system, as you get closer to an enemy, you can press the lock-on button, and then you can see that I'm locked onto these enemies over here. The fourth one isn't locked on because I'm not in range, but if I get in range, then I can switch to them. You see? And I can, obviously I'm rolling the mouse wheel. Sorry, I'm dying here. I'm rolling the mouse wheel forward to switch through the different targets. Like I'll shoot at that one, and I can shoot at that one, and I shoot that one. So it's actually controlling my tank to switch to the different enemies. So you can see like I'm not moving my mouse, but the tank is like aiming to the right target, you know. So I can switch back and forth. So I'm just rolling my mouse wheel to go through the targets this way, and then I can roll my mouse wheel to go through the targets that way. So you see how that works. So now like combat can be much easier when it comes to aiming on stuff, as you can see here. So yeah. And yeah, obviously these stuff make that noises. Just give me a sec.
My email.
So you can see like, yeah, that weird like dotting sound is the is the hovering sound of the bullet. So yeah. So yeah, it makes combat much easier. I haven't added this to the actual boss, but I'll show you how dashing will work. Let me just show you that. So, because I'm planning on having the boss have different lock-on capabilities, like I don't, if you've seen in other games, like certain, okay, I just died, but yeah, certain elements of the boss will be able to be locked onto. So bosses won't normally be this size. There'll be like bigger enemies. There'll be bigger enemies that have like certain, how do I explain this? Like, okay, if you picture a massive dog, and you can lock on to certain parts of its body. So you can lock onto its legs, maybe its back legs, its tail, its body, and its head. So it will have different lock-on points. So that's how bosses will have. So some bosses will have like weak points. So if you attack their legs or you attack their ankles, then they will stumble down. So you can get in range to like maybe melee their head or something, because maybe they can block their shots, your range shots, but when their legs get taken out, they open to melee attacks to their head. You know what I mean? Like they have like weaknesses basically. And locking onto certain points and getting them in certain conditions can basically help you out to, you know, to kill the boss the fastest. Because you can still like you can still do, yeah, that's the inventory still. You can still do the whole like this killing the boss the normal way, but you can also do it in a way of like exploiting their weaknesses and getting like critical attacks in. So yeah. And you're also noticing that it's like much harder to kill the boss now, or this like testing boss, without that strong fire rate with all that bullet shooting out. So yeah, I'm actually just trying to get the dash. Okay, there, I killed him. Wow, some dangerous shit. But yeah, I'm almost dead though, but it's fine. I just want to show you how the lock-on will work with the let me just enable the dash. Yeah. So you see now the direction of my tank is actually helping out, like, with the dash. So I can combat is much easier with the lock-on working with the special now, the special upgrade thing. So yeah. But yeah, that's basically all I wanted to show. Like, just a quick update. And what was the last thing that because I noticed that like the lock-on system wasn't shown, but it has been worked on like a while ago. But yeah, this weird hovering sound and silence. Okay, yeah. So yeah, so that's the lock-on system basically. Like, you can go through the different things, the different targets, and cycle through them. Like, as you move into range, it'll add them to the lock-on array, and as you move out of range, it'll remove it from the lock-on range. You can see here the add camera sweep and blend when lock off and on is for smoother transition, and you can see here, whoops, not there, here. So as I can't switch to those back targets, but now I can switch to all of them. And if I back up, then slowly I won't be able to lock onto them. But when I move out, like say I'm moving like this, and then I move out, you see the camera kind of like switches back to the way I'm facing. So I can lock on again, but when I click lock on, it just like zaps to that. So there's a sweep feature that prevents this. So instead of like, you see that gradual turn towards the target, that kind of gradual like turn will happen like when I unlock on. So when I lock on, the camera naturally turns like that. But now if I unlock on, it just like spawns to the other camera. So there will be like a sweep function that like makes the camera moving much more smoother and stuff like that. But that's also, like I said, adding on to something that's already made. But it's not necessary to have that feature work, But yeah, that's basically it. So the next step is working on this melee attacks and the additional weapon types, and then modifying the bosses and enemies to have these features. Then yeah, then we're basically done with the game mechanics. We can refactor, we can build a level, and yeah, start to actually test out all of these game mechanics. So yeah, but first, before I do that, I want to complete the data over here. So taking down all the data of the enemies and all of this will definitely help when it comes to modifying the enemies and stuff like that. So I know what the data, like what the attack data, what the damage data, where they're placed in the world, all of that stuff. Having that set out and referenceable, if you get what I mean. But yeah, thanks for watching this this update. It actually went on longer than I thought, but yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys again. Peace.